Touhou LostWord has an insane new bug, and I had a lot of fun playing around with it. I think it could be made into a great mechanic in like a special stage or something. But whatever, let's get right into it. In Touhou LostWord, you have 4 spell cards which you can use once per battle, and you also have your last word, which is your most powerful spell card. Once you use it, you can't use any more spell cards for the rest of the battle, hence the name Last Word. With this bug, you can change all of your spell cards to last words, essentially having 5 last words, producing results like these. This bug was added to the game along with the new Gates Burst Overkill mechanics. If you are looking carefully, you would already kind of figure out how the bug works. You activate your spell card, and once the spell card starts, you go to the menu and click on your character, and then the game will think that you're using the last word and apply the bullet effects or the bullet lines of the last word, which means you deal a lot more damage and also use the elements of the last word. You'll notice that I actually managed to do 6 breaks here, and none of Sakuya's cards have 6 moon breaks, and that's because when you activate the glitch, you can activate it sort of halfway through the spell, so you get some breaks from the spell card and then some breaks from the last word. The first time you perform the glitch, you will also need to click on the last word and show the bullet lines, and if you do this, it will set up the glitch so that in future you won't need to click the last word again. You just need to open the character's menu and it will think you're using the last word. To get a better idea of how this works, let's take a look at PCB Yukari's Fire Element spell card against Water EX. The first few bullets of her spell card hits before the glitch can activate, as you can see by the blue color of the damage. But once the menu appears, the game thinks you're using the last word and it applies the last word bullets and elements, and you can see Yomu is weak to Yukari's Water Element last word. Because of this, animation speed of your spell card really matters when performing this glitch. For example, Loliko's spell card animation is pretty fast, or rather the first few bullets come quite quickly, so by the time I'm able to open the menu, because there is some lag time between pressing the button and the menu actually opening, then most of the spell card is already over, meaning that you got more bullets from the spell card and less bullets from the last word. I did try changing the turning off shortened animations and turning off times 2 speed, but that did not seem to have any impact on this glitch. This is how Luna Wall Sakuya is able to do 6 moon breaks in one turn, even though none of her attacks have 6 moon lines, because part of the spell card is used and part of the last word is used. Bullet lines have always been kinda weird in this game, so it's not the case where you're using the first 3 lines of the spell card and the last 3 lines of the last word. It's more like just a huge mess. However, it looks like you cannot do more than 6 breaks in one attack, probably because the game is coded in such a way that each bullet line can only break 1 barrier. Raisin has 3 moon breaks on her spell card and 6 moon/sun breaks on her last word, but he does not manage to take off more than 6 barriers from Yuka. One more thing that's interesting is that the number of bullet lines comes from the spell card and not the last word. What I mean by this, if at 2 power, Kanagi's AoE spell card has 3 bullet lines and her last word has 4 bullet lines. Let's see what happens when I use her AoE card and I trigger the glitch. So her card has a long animation at the start, so I can get the full amount of bullets from the last word because I can trigger the glitch early enough that no bullets have hit the enemies yet. And if you look at the enemies now, you can see I've broken 3 barriers, which suggests that I have attacked with the first 3 lines of Kanagi's last word, which is kind of interesting because normally you won't be able to attack with just those 3 lines. It's either a 1 boost 2 lines or 2 boost 4 lines, so you can't get 3 lines. But so basically what this tells us is that the way the glitch works is that it replaces the bullet lines from the spell card with the corresponding bullet lines from the last word. So what about spell card pre and post effects as well as story card? Well, that's very simple. The game just uses the ones from the spell cards and not the last word. However, when it comes to bullet line effects such as this delay on Sakuya's spell card or this stun on Sakuya's last word, you can get a mixture of the effects from both the spell card and the last word, just like you can kinda get a mixture of the breaks. Also, whether or not the attack is all targeting or solo targeting depends on the spell card. So as you might have noticed, I got Sakuya's last word to hit all 3 enemies. This game has been in the game for about a week now. There's some maintenance today, they didn't patch it yet, but it doesn't seem to work in auto replay, so there's not much harm that you can do unless you want to manually make a bunch of inputs to farm a stage at lower costs. But like I said at the start, the game has kind of run out of cool mechanics, and I had a lot of fun playing around with this, so it would be cool if they made like a special stage with a mechanic like this, or something that really game breaking, or like that really changes the way that we play the game. Because the end game just kind of sucks. It's like the same stuff over and over with like locks and guards. It's not really that interesting. In the meantime, have fun with this, but just be discreet because it's probably like against terms of service or whatever. Finally, before we go, I want to give some credit to Style and Scarlet Mistress Remilia for their videos on YouTube, which is where I found out about this glitch. I'm not sure where they found out or who created the glitch, maybe someone from the Japan side, but whatever. Thank you for watching and see you next time.